The Forgotten Realms are home to many a strange and fearsome creature. Here, we aim to discuss them all. Go not blindly into the unknown, adventurer. Join us in browsing the bestiary.
Welcome back to Browsing the Bestiary,
Welcome back.
a podcast that takes an in-depth look at all of those creatures that put the monster in Monster Manual, the beast in Bestiary, and of course, the dragons in Dungeons and Dragons. I'm Dungeon Mistress Jade.
And this is Lore Master Andy. How's it going, Jade? What's new? What's new?
Well, as you could probably tell, I have a new microphone.
Yes, Jade has a new setup, and does it not just sound buttery smooth into your ears?
You can hear my sultry voice now.
That's right. That's right. Yes, as she narrates all of the horrible things that all of these creatures can do for you, you'd be like, or not for you, to you. Those are two
For
different
you
things.
if you're the DM.
That's right. Yeah, those are different things. You'd be like, oh, yes. Wow, this is horrifying. But I feel weirdly safe as Jade tells me about this. Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness.
What's new with you, Andy?
Well, I know this is going to sound completely random. I don't think I've talked about it much before, but I, used to work as a teacher, and I'm in the process of renewing my teaching license. So I took a week-long drumming class this week, and it was really cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Did you learn anything new?
I learned a lot of new things. Like I'm a teacher, I'm a musician, I'm a music teacher. And this workshop really changed the whole way that I think about rhythm and like time in specifically in the genres of music that the workshop was all about. It's Afro-Cuban music, so lots of music from East and West Africa, and then from Latin America. It was very cool. There were so many moments where I was like, oh, like that dark room in the attic of my brain, a light bulb just came on. Oh my God. Yeah. It became like a running thing. I'd say, I go, oh, light bulb in the attic. And then the other people in the class would laugh. So yeah, it was
on those synapses. Yeah.
yeah. So no, it was great. I had a blast. Would highly recommend. I won't name the course here, but for anybody that knows me in real life who listens to this, ask me more about the drumming workshop, and I'll point you in the right direction.
I don't know. I have the rhythm of a newborn baby, so I probably wouldn't have fun in that class.
You're like, I'm just happy to be here. I don't know what's going on, but it sounds good. Just carry on.
I like listening.
Yeah. And you know what? Hey, we need arts appreciators out there. We need more arts appreciators out there than artists, because artists, we got to eat. So
Speaking of appreciating art, you should sign up on our Patreon.
It's true.
Shameless plug. Browsing the Bestiary.
That's right. Which, remember, we have a free tier that does get you some cool stuff in there, like our next character sheet for one of our heroes. We won't say who it is, but that is coming a little bit later here in June. So subscribe for that. And then, of course, the paid tier has more things. You can look on our Patreon for that. But we, of course, are here to tell you about a creature, or perhaps a whole bunch of creatures, depending on what edition we're talking about. Jade, can we get a dice roll, please?
Yes, we can. All right, I have these cute, reddish orange dice.
Okay.
All right, 2 d20s.
Ooh.
Let's try.
Yeah.
Well, we got a 3 and we got a 12. So.
All right.
At least it's above a 10 this time.
Yes, I like to think we're rolling with advantage because we've had such bad rolls. So we're gonna take that 12. So with a roll of 12, we get bandits. Ooh, bandits.
Ooh.
Yes, this is our first humanoid monster. Which did not occur to me until we were writing this episode. I was like, we have not done any humanoid episodes yet. It's all been other horrible things.
Yeah. And even though this is one of the more normal monsters, I feel like it kicked our ass.
It did.
We had a rough time
Yeah.
finding sources for these guys.
Yeah, it's like, "Oh, you wanna find stuff on giants? Oh, it's here forever and always. Oh, you want stuff on these horrible, carnivorous plants? We have plenty. Oh, you wanna, learn about dudes who rob people? Well, fuck you." Yeah, it was rough, but you know what? We went into the stacks, we went into the annals of history for you, dear listener, because we love you. So, we're going to start with the description that we have in the 5th edition Monster Manual for Bandits. Bandits for bandits. Am I
Bandits,
having a
yeah.
stroke for bandits? Apparently. So that's like been me all day. I'm just going to blame my allergies, which if I sound stuffed up, I'm sorry, folks. The Canadian wildfires are pouring smoke into the Midwest where we live. It's rough out there. Okay, so the passage begins. Quote, bandits rove in gangs and are sometimes led by thugs, veterans, or spellcasters. Not all bandits are evil. Oppression, drought, disease, or famine can often drive otherwise honest folk to a life of banditry. End quote.
It fits very well, especially in well, obviously this is based on, its real world counterpart
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
of bandits, but it does fit very well where it's like there's different reasons. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad, you know?
Yeah, yeah. It kind of reminds me of, oh man, we're starting to show our age here, Jade. Remember in
Uh-oh.
Avatar: The Last Airbender where Uncle Iroh,
Mhm.
right? There's the guy who's like trying to rob him, and he's like, "Yeah, your stance is all wrong," and takes the dagger, and then they end up like sitting down and having tea, and
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's like that. I feel like there's a lot of these guys. They got some complex backstories. Which for our DMs out there, we're going to give you some more food for thought on that end. But Jade, I'd like to turn it over to you to kind of take us through the historical context for people who have made their living preying on the wealth of others.
Of course. So this small quote comes from a paper. It says, quote, "The phenomena of brigandage and outlawry," end
Mm.
quote. Uh, I just love that phrase, brigandage and outlawry.
Brigandage.
Um, but it says it has been, a part of human history since the beginning of time, since, we stopped being apes and monkeys.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Yeah, all over the world and long into the past, from ancient Rome to medieval Europe to the era of India's Chola dynasty, feudal Japan, all over the place. Bandits, or sometimes called highwaymen,
Hmm.
have been recorded one way or another, forcefully stealing goods from unsuspecting travelers in mainly rural areas.
Yeah.
hmm According to a researcher named Francesca Fuoli, in her article "Banditry in Global Social History," which this topic actually was interesting to me. It's almost like its whole field. It's its own field in the study of anthropology,
Oh, okay.
specifically just studying bandits,
Interesting.
which shouldn't have had surprised me, considering that like almost everything has its own field of study.
Yeah,
um,
that's true. That is true.
Yeah, I mean, you could look at, like, I don't know, the making of water bottles, and it would have its whole history. Someone wrote a 20-page paper on it, you know?
Oh yeah, it's like, yes, it started with the humble sheep's bladder and then the gourd was utilized. Yeah, 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 yeah. I can see
Exactly.
that. I can
Yeah.
see that.
Yeah, so specifically Foley and another, researcher that she's gonna mention, Eric Hobsbawm,
Mm,
very British name.
that's a great researcher name. Professor Hobsbawm. Yes, yes.
Perfect name, yeah. They both studied, the history of banditry, and they both say that banditry, know, truly went into its golden age during the mid 19th to mid 20th century. And
Yeah,
we'll get more into that.
yeah, which when you told me that originally, I was like, there's no way. But then I kind of thought I was like, oh, okay, the American West. Yeah. Okay. I can see it.
What I, even that, like, it's just the, you know, post-industrial revolution, it was just like now more people can travel.
Mhm.
Laws are starting to creep into the rural areas. It all kinds of things.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we'll get into it, but I wanted to talk a little bit about Foley and her conversation with Hobsbawm's work,
Mhm.
which he has a whole book called just Bandits, that was published in 1969.
Iconic.
Um,
Iconic.
yeah, yeah, perfect name. He has some really cool works, actually. I would definitely check him out. He's definitely studied a lot in this portion of history.
Mm.
And in his book, he argues that banditry was not random, but actually a reaction to economic distress.
Oh, okay.
Oftentimes, rising from war, famine. He argues that banditry was as much a rural occupation as farming was.
Huh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, and the job of banditry, quote unquote, was actually used for additional income, particularly during, like lulls and seasonal work,
Okay.
in farming. Yeah. It it definitely, I think we talked about this, Andy, where it was like, if you guys have ever seen Over the Garden Wall, there's the the highwayman,
Yeah, the
and, like, all
highwayman.
yeah, all the people in the bar introducing themselves, they're like, "I'm the barmaid, I'm, um, the lawyer, blah, blah," and he's like, "I'm the highwayman."
Yeah, yeah. It's my job with my 2 hands. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, so it's definitely been a part of the occupations in rural areas.
Mm.
He also argued that banditry could be considered a form of rebellion against the increasing government oversight of rural areas,
Mm.
especially in the response to capitalism,
Sure.
as some use banditry to kind of rise within the income brackets.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, that makes sense.
Yeah. And in fact, in the golden age of banditry, as we mentioned, the rise of brigandage was it was due to sweeping economic changes, like we said, during the industrial and even after the industrial revolution, where it kind of closed the gaps between urban and rural centers. And more territory was actually being taken over by the elite. They're like, oh, we can just take this and, we don't have to worry about traveling as much,
Mhm.
because it's easier.
Yeah, yeah, the partitioning of the commons, as it were.
Mhm, mhm. And then the issuing of, like, travel visas and all of
Mhm,
that, like,
mhm.
it both restricted areas and also made them more accessible at the same time. It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
it was
yeah.
a very confusing time for
Messy.
especially the rural folks, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Um,
the poor farmers during that time. Jeez.
oh, man, it was rough, yeah. I did, for my master's thesis, I did, a paper on Jane Austen and walking,
Oh, yes,
and
yes, yes. Mhm, mhm.
yeah, yeah, and it of course focused on like, um, you know, Jane Austen and her characters are always in the country, quote unquote. So it's very much like walking, and it was a huge form of travel, but it was also like seen as a stigmatized form of travel.
Yes. Mhm, mhm, mhm.
Mhm. Yeah.
For the
Um,
plebeians. Mm.
yeah, and so like walking was just considered like, oh, that's weird. There's one guy who did a whole walking tour and, like, wrote it down in a journal, and, people were, like, being mean to him because 'cause they're like, "Oh, you're walking," and then they find out he's rich, and they're like, "Oh, sorry, we didn't know.
Oh,
Here's a
you were
room
doing
for you."
the good walking. Oh, hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Yeesh.
and of course, one of the reasons walking was so stigmatized is because like, you're probably a bandit then, you're probably
Mm.
walking to steal from people.
Yes, you're not on a horse? Mm, sus. Mm.
Exactly. Yeah, so, you know, banditry came from a result of all these things, but of course, that isn't to say that those who turned to banditry were all victims. Of course, some may have been in it for more nefarious reasons,
Mhm,
but
mhm.
even in media and literature, there is a good mix between the quote unquote good and bad bandits.
Mm, yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, so for example, Robin Hood, as we all know,
Mhm.
he's a well-known fictional character whose story has been retold since medieval period. Like all the way back to the Crusades to Disney's, animated Robin Hood, like all the way
Yes.
up, and even more. I think they're still doing recountings of that tale.
Yeah, the most recent one I think was that Russell Crowe one, Robin Hood, like Prince of Thieves or something. It's awful. Don't watch it. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so Robin Hood is a bandit for good who stole from the rich and the greedy and gave to the poor and the needy. All of this was justified. His crimes were justified due to the fact that his father's land was stolen by the evil Prince John,
Mhm. Mhm.
um, and or seized by the sheriff of Nottingham, depending on the version of the
Mhm.
story.
Mhm.
While Robin Hood was out fighting in the Crusades. Which, whether or not you agree with the Crusades is another conversation.
Yes, we'll cover that later.
Yes. But at the time, like, he was seen as a war hero, and then he gets his land stolen. What the heck?
Mhm.
So then he starts stealing for good. So no matter which way you look at Robin Hood, he's always gonna be a force for good, right?
Yeah, yeah.
He kind of represents that the one end of the spectrum for good bandits. And then we can look at an example from the other end,
Mhm. Mhm.
which, to put it into contrast, is the legendary and infamous Jesse
Yeah,
James.
speaking of the American West.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah, oh, yeah. A lot of older folks are gonna know who Jesse James is. I don't think a lot of younger folks are gonna know.
Oh, unfortunate.
Um, but to tell you, so unlike Robin Hood, Jesse James is a real person who was born in Clay County, Missouri
Mhm.
on September 5th, 1847, and very much unlike Robin Hood, Jesse James was just a bad person,
Yes, yes.
just downright bad. So
Absolute scum. Yeah, he sucked.
yeah, he sucks so bad.
Rest in piss.
So Jesse James grew up in the midst of the American Civil War,
Mm,
and being a white man from Missouri, I think you
Missouri.
can guess
Mhm.
which side he was on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when Jesse was a teenager, he steps with brother Frank, and together they were a part of many guerrilla warfare attacks against that terrorized pro-Union soldiers.
Mm,
And pro-union communities.
uh-huh.
Um, in an article published by PBS, actually, it states that Jesse committed, quote, multiple atrocities.
Ooh.
That's how they worded it in the article.
Ooh.
He committed multiple atrocities during his teens, including participating in the Centralia massacre, which killed over 100 Union
Mm.
soldiers. They were just completely butchered. Like some of them weren't even armed,
Oof.
and yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it was yikes.
that's a war crime. Yeah, like which I imagine we'll have like some listeners, up to this point, they're like, yeah, 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 and here this will be the thing that polarizes them. They'll go, hold on a second. I enjoyed all the shit about giants, but this is a bridge too far.
Well, it gets worse, Sandy,
Oh no.
because after the war, so I think this is where more Jesse's famous, is that after the war, him and his returned to bank robbery.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, and he loved the attention that robbing banks gave him.
Mhm, mhm.
Um, so he would just continuously make, bank robberies a spectacle in a way.
Uh-huh.
And so that they're told in the newspapers next day. It kind of
Mhm,
reminds
mhm.
me of if you guys have ever seen John Mulaney's stand up where he's like, how did old bank robbers do it? They just shot their name in the side of the bar. And how'd they get away with it? They're like, "Who did it? I don't know." Meanwhile, they're just making all kinds of spectacle.
Yeah. Mhm, mhm.
Yeah. So, and definitely a lot of innocent people were killed,
Oh,
in the
100%.
bank robberies. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, Jesse attempted to construct this kind of myth around himself that he was the, modern day, at the time, Robin Hood.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and while he definitely stole from the rich because who else is putting their money in a bank?
Yeah, yeah, seriously.
Um there's no evidence that he gave his ill-gotten gain to the poor, and
Ooh.
yeah, much more evidence of him killing, the bank tellers.
Yeah, which like, once again stands in contrast to, other kind of like famous outlaws from the time who really became folk heroes because yeah, they would, stick it to the rich folk, take on the law and then yeah, a lot of times stick up for the working man. Like Bonnie and
Yeah.
Clyde. But yeah, no. Jesse James sucked.
I think future, uh, references to him definitely focus more on the Robin Hood, aspect of
Mhm.
him,
Mhm.
and just kinda used him as a template almost, because like, Jesse James, pretty sweet name
Oh, it's a
as
great
an
name. It's
outlaw.
a great
Yeah,
name.
yeah, so I think, definitely people have forgotten, what a piece of shit he
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, 100%.
Um, and he was, even more so a piece of shit in his lifetime, that he was actually later killed by a fellow gang member who was given $10,000. And this is 1800s money, $10,000 by the Missouri governor to uh hunt down the outlaw.
Damn.
Um,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So it kind of fits into what we're going to talk about uh in a bit, with bandits turning on each other,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
just kind of giving up one another for
Yeah.
money. But yeah, both stories and interpretations of bandits fit really well with the lore of bandits and Dungeons and Dragons, especially from what we saw in the 5e description. There can be nuance as to why people turn to a life of robbery, but most of the time the reasons are a little bit selfish,
Mm.
and you never know when one of your fellow robbers are going to turn on you.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah.
Um
So, but with all that out of the way, Andy, why don't you tell us about Zero D&D?
Yes. So obviously, bandits do show up in the 1974 white box set. I don't really think any medieval war game would be complete without them, right? Like
No.
you want to
Mhm.
have okay, the armies are clashing. Oh no, third party faction. Oh, they're coming to rob you or destroy your supply lines, whatever. And you're just gonna have some bandits in there.
Yeah.
So now there's a monster type in the white box set just called men. Yes, that is correct.
Am I
Um,
right, ladies?
yeah, ladies, exactly. And bandits are one of several categories of men. Though, to be fair, the other categories of men are just modified versions of bandits. Um,
Mhm.
the section states that bandits are normal men, but will have leaders who are, quote, super normal fighters, magical types, or clerical types, end quote. I know they're trying to make them sound impressive, but describing anyone as super normal just makes me think that they enjoy bland food and only dress in shades of beige. Um,
It reminds me of it reminds me of normal SpongeBob where he's like, "Hi, how are
yeah,
you?
exactly. It's like they're super normal. Hi, how are you? Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
here to steal your things."
Yeah. Can you give me your valuables? Hi. Yeah, exactly. Now bandits have one hit die per man, and their armor class and movement speed varies depending on the armor that they're wearing, and if and what kind of horse they are riding. Very important. Not guaranteed they'll be riding a horse, and if they are, no guarantee it'll be the same type of horse.
You gotta roll for everything for this,
That's
like, too.
right. There are no tables.
Oh,
there are, or
there are
sorry,
tables,
I meant to
it's
say there's
just like you roll for heavy armor, you roll for horses, you roll for, where the it's just a lot.
yeah, so no, I missed what I meant to say. There's no stat blocks. It's only
Oh,
tables.
oh,
You will
yes,
you will
yes,
roll. God damn it. And now all super normal. Hi, how are you? Men will be riding heavy barded horses. Their alignment will have a 50% chance of either being neutral or chaotic.
Mhm.
Now, this is important. The number of men appearing can range from 30, normal amount, a bunch of bandits, to 300.
Yep. Yeah.
Insane. For every certain
That's
number
a
of
lot of
bandits.
guys.
Yeah. It's so many. For every certain number of bandits, there will be a chance one of them will be a 4th to 6th level, once again, quote unquote, super normal fighting man, aka a fighter, a magic user, and or a cleric determined by the roll of a d6. If there are exactly 300 men, the section states, then there will absolutely be a magic user and a 50% chance that there is a cleric. So not only are you dealing with a horde of murderous individuals, they're going to have some magic users with them too, guaranteed.
Yeah.
Now, on top of this, there's also a chance that there will be, quote, magical accoutrements, end quote, for the supernormals. I know that sounds insane, but basically this means there's a 5% chance that for each of their levels, a fighting man will have armor, a shield, or a sword. A magic user will have a wand or staff, a ring, and a miscellaneous magic item. And a cleric will have a miscellaneous weapon that is not an edged weapon. They'll have armor or a shield. Now, this rolls per level. So, example, if there are 200 bandits, there will be a 25% chance that a magic user at either 10th or 11th level will be there.
So scary. I can't.
Yeah. It's like, oh, yeah, there's just an archmage just here with the bandits. Very casual. These items, of course, or I'm sorry, at every level, there is a 5% chance that the magic user will have some kind of magic item.
Yeah, and that's per level. So like if it's a 10th level magic user, then you'll get like they'll have a 50% chance of having a magic item,
Yes.
basically.
Yes. And
Yeah.
these items are nothing to scoff at. Items for the magic user can include examples such as the Staff of Withering.
It's my favorite.
Yeah, which like you're like, oh, what's that do? Like make plants die? No. On a hit, that takes 10 years off of a creature's lifespan.
Gee.
Yes, and it specifically says a man who is struck 4 times will become a doddering old man and will most likely die of old age, okay? Now, imagine, right? You've rolled up this character, right? You love this character. You're like, yes, this is Steve, the hero, right? And imagine Steve, the hero, preparing to heroically defend a town from a marauding horde of bandits, only to die of old age during the fight because he got hit 4 times with a stick. Like, first edition was insane.
I know this is why you had so many characters written up, because you're just like, I don't know if I'm gonna die of old age or swords to the stomach. Who knows?
Yes. Is it Tucker's Kobolds? Oh, it's Tucker's Kobolds again? Yeah, exactly. Yes. First edition, your character, you were not emotionally attached to it. Your character was like was like a, try to think of the exact thing, like a voodoo doll, right? You were just waiting to see what
Yeah.
horrible things would happen to him. Now another example is the for a magic item is the Ring of Djinn summoning, which summons a genie as a permanent servant for the user, who, by the way, fights like a giant. If you remember from
Yep.
our previous episodes, how strong a giant is.
So do they throw rocks then? That's what I have to know.
Yeah, that's what I don't know. It's like, yeah, do they throw the rock?
Are they a catapult?
Yes.
Is the question.
I summon a mobile catapult. And then another thing that, your random magic user in a horde of bandits can show up with is the Mirror of Life Trapping, which is a mirror about the size of a buckle. It traps the life force of any human, elf, dwarf, or gnome who looks into it. And
Yeah.
you're just in there now. You exist in the mirror. You, not outside your body, inside the mirror.
I was just imagining when it says the size of a buckle, like literally someone has it as a belt buckle, and they're just like, "Whatcha? Look at my belt."
Don't you want to look at my belt? Oh, why would I look? Oh, and then you're just inside there. Yeah.
Goodbye.
Yeah. Bye. Yeah, we'll see you never, potentially. Unless you break the mirror, then all of the souls inside get let out. But there are rules for how to break the mirror properly because it's a magic item. Okay, and those items are just some of the items that magic users can get. This is not to mention all of the items that super normal fighting men or clerics can get as well.
Mhm.
So yeah, maybe don't take on a horde of first edition bandits if you're not ready.
Yeah, don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
All right, let's move into AD&D First Edition.
Mm-hmm.
In in the 1979 Monster Manual, bandits once again appear under the category of men. And this time they are combined with the brigand.
Ooh,
Uh,
brigands.
yeah, brigands in the white box X were technically their own separate category, but the description said that brigands were just bandits with a +1 morale and a only chaotic alignment. So
Ah,
it just kind of makes sense to combine them in this manual.
yeah,
Um, and compared to the white box set, bandits do get sort of an overhaul in the number that appear and in the percentage of how many higher level fighters, magic users, and clerics appear as well.
yeah.
Um, they're no longer called super normal, but they're there. They're still there.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, they now appear in smaller groups of 20 to 200, and even smaller groups when traveling inside dungeons. And they are generally led by a high level fighter, um, magic user, or cleric. Um, you have to roll for those things, but they're not,
Of
the
course.
tables aren't as egregious. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
This section also mentions a small tidbit that said because groups of bandits traveling in dungeons are so small, they'll often work with thieves. Though the number of thieves is not mentioned, and like thieves as a character group, I don't know, are not mentioned either. So I don't know what they're talking about when they refer to thieves in this case.
Love it. Good job, guys.
Yeah, I think they might be referring to the class itself, but
Mm-hmm.
oh, first zero and first edition are sometimes very unclear.
Yeah, because even into second edition, monsters or certain types of monsters are able to have like classes that players can take. Which
Yes.
yeah, it just makes it more confusing.
Yeah. And the thief was what, like I said, it is a player class, and it was introduced in the first Greyhawk supplement published in 1976. And we talked about this earlier, in an earlier episode, about how the supplement introduced D&D players to the world of Greyhawk,
Mm-hmm.
as well as added new classes and races and monsters. And one of these mechanics was the inclusion of a fourth player class, the Thief.
Mm.
Uh, we won't get too much into the Thief in this episode, as there is a lot to go over with that. But yeah, just like Andy said, just know that the Thief was not its own monster. It was a class that could be put on to certain monsters as well as to the players.
Yes. Very, very nice and
Mhm.
straightforward.
Yes, it is kind of nice because you're like, oh, well, these ones are fighting men, these are clerics, so on and so forth. It just makes it easier than having a whole other stat block, but
Yes.
um,
Yes.
also a little more boring. So, glad they changed it up a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Because your DM doesn't have enough things to worry about already.
Right. And speaking of worrying about, as for the composition of larger groups of bandits in the AD&D Monster Manual, the process of determining how many high level bandits appeared was streamlined to leave this determination less up to chance and more as a set table. So that's definitely making it easier for the DM.
Thank God.
Yes. Yeah. So for example, in the white box set, it said for every 100 bandits, there will be in addition one eighth or ninth level fighter determined by a roll of a d6. 1 to 3 is the eighth level. 4 to 6 is the ninth level. Now in AD&D, bandits will always be led by an eighth, ninth, or 10th level fighter, along with 6 second level guards and a 7th level lieutenant. So
Oh.
very, very streamlined.
Oh,
Yes.
that's so much easier. Oh my God.
Yes.
Like my brain doesn't hurt looking at that. Whereas those tables, man, I took
Yes.
psychic damage from those.
So much rolling, and I'm like, the way I'm rolling right now, I hope I wouldn't have to roll like that
Yeah. Yeah, true.
in first edition.
It's like, sorry guys, this is
Um,
just a TPK. I'm sorry.
There's 100 you take 100 hits, you're dead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
And the process of determining the number of magic user and clerics were also streamlined. So for every 50 bandits, there is a 25% chance of a magic user of 7th, 8th, ninth, or 10th level, which is determined by D4. And if there are 200 bandits, then there will always be a magic user, still rolling for their level. But pretty simple, like, couple magic users here, 200 bandits, always one. And in addition, for every 50 bandits, there's a 15% chance that there will be a cleric of 5th or 6th level, who will also have an assistant of 3rd or 4th level.
Oh, that's fun. Assistant.
Kill them.
Yeah, please. Yeah, Abelard, kick this man in the balls.
And the section also states that leaders of a group of bandits have a quote normal chance of being psionically endowed.
Oh boy.
Yeah, these percentages are found in the Dungeon Master's Guide. We won't get into it because determining psionics is so frustrating.
Yes.
Let me tell you. You have to determine like the special attacks, special defenses, all of those things. It's just a mess. We're not going to get into that.
Yeah,
but
we're not talking about it.
Yeah, the leaders of a group have a normal chance, whatever that means, of being. So, and then additionally, in this monster manual, not only is there a role to determine if and how many bandits appear in their lair, which is about 20% of the time, up from 15 in the white box set, but there is also a role to determine what kind of lair the bandits will be in.
Ooh, that's fun.
About 80% of the time, bandits will be in an informal camp, kind of lame. But 10% of the time, you will either find bandits in a cave complex with a
Okay.
secret entrance,
Okay.
or in a regular castle with 1 to 4 light catapults for defense.
Dang, they're hiring hill giants to defend the place. Nice.
Yeah, I wonder if that's a thing where it's like in place of catapults, you can just say, "Oh, these are hill giants instead."
Oh, I'm sure DMs have done it. I'm sure they've done
Oh,
it.
I'm sure. Yeah. And along in their lair, bandits will also have 2 to 20 important prisoners,
Okay.
um, determined by the DM, as well as 5 to 30 camp followers slash slaves.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah. And then combat-wise, bandits 90% of the time will be mounted on horses in open territories, but only 10% of the time in hilly, mountainous areas.
Makes sense.
So again, that's streamlined as well.
Yeah, that's nice.
Before you were rolling like what kind of horse and what kind of armor and all of these things. But now it's just like you either get them or you don't, depending on where you are.
You got your horsed bandits, you got your unhorsed bandits. It's simple.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, so you don't have to roll for weapon, horse, armor separately. Now it's just all together. So, for example, there is a 10% chance that bandits will have a medium horse, chainmail, and a shield, a sword, and so on and so forth, right? So it's just all grouped together in a small, compact little table. It's very nice.
Nice.
The only change that didn't happen was with the magic items. It's still a 5% chance per level per magic item.
Terrifying.
Yeah. And then finally, we get to brigands who fall under bandits. Once again, brigands are just more chaotic evil than regular bandits, who are now more neutral.
Okay.
Yeah, and the main differences are that they have a higher chance of their lairs being a cave complex or a castle, 20% and 30% respectively, as well as having less important prisoners, about 1 to 10, but more followers and slaves,
Huh.
20 to 50. Yeah. I think it's because they're supposed to be a little more charismatic.
Gotcha.
Because of the higher morale.
Yeah, the brigands got the fangirlies following them around.
Yeah. Swoon.
Look how he robbed that town. Yeah, it's great. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah, so like I said, they get a +1 to their reaction morale dice. Which I'm not sure if we mentioned, but morale is basically kind of the state of mind of the creatures. So like how likely they are to take risks, how likely they are to retreat from a fight or fight to the death, and as well as whether or not the underlings will stay loyal to their leaders.
Yeah, that's the
All
important one with all them fangirlies following them around.
right. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so that's all determined by a morale roll, which I think probably 5e would probably be like a persuasion roll or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's an optional morale system that's in the Dungeon Master's Guide. I've never used it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
definitely a throwback to, what used to be standard as if we go back far enough. Yeah.
Ah, gotcha,
Mhm,
gotcha.
mhm.
Yeah, but that's the AD&D Monster Manual. Next, we're gonna look at these are long titles, so bear with me. But this one is the World of Greyhawk Folio. That's the title, published in 1980, and then this one is Guide to the World of Greyhawk, Volume 3, a catalog of the land of Flanaeus, being the eastern portion of the continent Oric of Oerth.
Oh my god.
That is the whole title.
This is just a 19th century British encyclopedia. That's all this is.
It honestly it is because it's Greyhawk first of all,
Oh
and
yeah.
Greyhawk is just all of the kingdoms. It's just a history book if we're gonna be real. But yes, so the catalog is basically a reprint and expansion of the 1980 folio. So we're just gonna focus on the catalog, which was published in 1983. And a little sidebar. So you probably may or may not have noticed that in that long title for the catalog, I said Volume 3.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, what happened to the other 2 volumes? And I went searching for this thing, Andy. I went searching.
Of
And
course.
it turns out it was right there. So it's according to the glossography,
Oh, God.
yeah, for the guide to the world of Greyhawk. This was actually a booklet. It was almost like a how do you say? Um,
Almost like a
what's the
like a
word?
found like it's supposed to be like a found media type thing.
Well, yes, but I was more like it came in the set with the catalog, and so it was kind of like a glossary, so to speak, for the catalog. Yeah, just an extra kind of thing to tell you what's in it.
Okay,
But
I
yes,
see.
yes, in the glossography, it actually explains that Volume 3 is the sole surviving volume of an epic 7-volume work written by the savant sage of Greyhawk.
Of course, that makes sense.
Yeah. This copy in particular was found in an Illithid's lair in the Rift Canyon, and it was then sent to the Royal University of Relmord, where it was then compiled by an elder named Pluffet Smedger. What a fucking name, dude.
Dude, I love old D&D names. Oh man.
You almost have to go into academia with that name.
Yeah. Yes, Professor Smedger.
Pluffet?
I seem to have smudged my scroll. What are you poking fun, pupil? I'll see your run out of Relmord University, you little shit.
Oh, great. Yeah. So yeah, the volume 3 aspect of the catalog is fictional. It might have been a joke from Gary and the other writers, or
for sure.
maybe
Yeah.
maybe it's just a way to flesh out the world. Either way, the catalog itself gives an immensely in-depth deep dive into the kingdoms of Greyhawk, which, as we mentioned, there's a lot of them.
Oh yes.
And as we also just to remind you all, in a previous episode, we mentioned that the universe of Greyhawk, which is separate from the Forgotten Realms and Dragonlance, is more of a sword and sorcery type of setting with plenty, and we mean plenty,
Yes.
of political intrigue.
Yes. So much.
Yes. And the catalog, as we said, mainly focuses on the eastern continent of Ulrich, and the factions and kingdoms that reside there. A handful of these kingdoms are known as the Bandit Kingdoms.
Ooh.
Yeah, so the Bandit Kingdoms are made up of 5 kingdoms: Rayu, Groskopf, Dimray, Joraza, and Rookroost, which Rookroost is the biggest according to population size.
Okay.
The Bandit Kingdoms are described as a, quote, collection of petty holdings, end quote, that stretches from the Shieldlands to the Bluff Hills. Each kingdom is ruled by a robber chieftain, kind of an odd combination of words.
Yeah.
But which many of the chieftains go by a number of titles, including king, tyrant, general, etc., etc.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
kind of what they're feeling,
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, we're keeping it loosey goosey, you know. One man's
Right.
king is another man's tyrant. I mean, come on.
Yeah, and overall, the 5 kingdoms are broken further down into roughly 17 states. But the territorial boundaries of each of these kingdoms are constantly changing due to each of the sometimes 4, sometimes up to 6 chieftains vying for more power and more land.
Political intrigue.
Yes, exactly. So, due to the constant infighting, no one chieftain has yet attempted, yet alone succeed in uniting the Bandit Kingdoms into one. Nonetheless, when it does come to fighting enemies outside of the Bandit Kingdoms, they will sometimes work together, making their overall fighting force about 10,000 troops.
Okay. Wow, that is a lot of troops. Dang.
Yes. Yeah, and these troops are definitely needed because as I was scrolling through the catalog, I was looking at the descriptions of the other kingdoms, and basically almost every other kingdom, especially the ones surrounding the Bandit Kingdoms, were like, yeah, we fucking hate the Bandit Kingdoms. We will fight them. We're always fighting them. It seemed like everyone had beef with the bandits. And I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, they're always trying to steal their shit. Like they're like, we're not the don't take your stuff kingdoms. We're the bandit kingdoms. Like
That's fair. That's
yeah,
fair.
yeah. We're gonna we're hide your things, hide your wives. The bandit kingdoms are on the loose. Moving on. In second edition, we see bandits make their first appearance in the 1989 Monstrous Compendium. Bandits and brigands once again will fall under the men heading. This time, the core supplement has condensed the different categories of men as basically generic fodder, with the men with the same classes PCs can have now as more important. So think like fighters, rogues, which are not thieves anymore. Now thieves are considered low-level rogues. Wizards, and then priests, which are not clerics anymore. So, basically they're just, worse versions of the PC classes, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, second edition had to be different.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Now, bandits and brigands, of course, fall under this generic category, as the section states that a group of bandits is usually led by the classes previously mentioned, with there specifically being a third-level fighter for every 20 bandits encountered, right? We're streamlining this even more. Yes, we like this. Now, they still appear in groups of 20 to 200. They typically have a 50% chance of wearing no armor, a 35% chance of wearing leather armor, a 10% chance of padded armor, and a 5% chance that they will have ring mail. This to me makes a lot of sense because it seemed like the bandits were weirdly armored for, dudes and dudettes just kind of scavenging, and stealing stuff. So I do like this change. We also get a small description of bandits, which states, quote, bandits are rural thieves who openly prey on travelers in isolated dwellings, end quote. This is actually one of the first times that we actually get some description of this enemy, just besides how many there are in a group. So that's nice.
Or
Yeah, yeah.
even just a tiny bit of lore.
Yes, yes, lore. Please, please, God, lore. Now, our friends the bandits will appear in a great supplement called the Complete Thieves Handbook. As we mentioned before, second edition is known for having a lot of class supplements.
Lots of
Yeah.
class supplements.
Yes, really, really fleshing out like all the things you can do with the class. So many mechanics, lore, lots of quotes from like notable adventurers of each class. It's a fun time. Now, each class has its own book with different subclasses, tools, and other information pertaining to them. The Thief's Handbook is, of course, an expansion on the Thief class. Now, bandits, along with all the other synonyms for thief, appear as thief types, or what we would now refer to as subclasses today. And this gives each type different stats and then possible toolkits. Now, each subclass actually gets a lot of information, including finally getting some lore. As we said, we've been desperate for lore on these guys for 2 whole editions now. Well, as much lore as you can get for, normal guys.
They're just guys.
They're just guys. They're just guys. I think the lore itself is more to help differentiate between these different subclasses of thief because, as we said, most of these are just synonyms for the word thief, right? Bandit, burglar, thug, etc. My personal favorite is cut purse.
Love the cut purse.
Yes. It does what it says. They cut your purse.
Look up the story Mole Cut Purse, and you'll understand how cool that is.
Mole cut purse. I will.
Mole. MOL.
Mole. Yes. This is giving me Cockney vibes. Why is that?
I told you the story before, but it's she's actually a real person who was a kind of she was a cut purse, literally. She was just a thief. She would steal things. She would wear men's clothing.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. There was a whole play written about her, and now kind of Mole as a like female bandit kind of character is throughout history. In Baldur's Gate 3,
I was gonna say
a character named Mole.
Yep, I knew that was a reference to something. And like always, we always find our way back to Baldur's Gate 3.
It's either Baldur's Gate 3 or Shakespeare. And
It's
in
true.
this case, it was kind of the same.
Yeah, which it's all British, right? At the end of the day, it's Brits all the way down.
Oh, the Brits, and then it's the Greeks.
And then it's the Greeks. That's right. Yes. When in doubt, blame Zeus. Okay.
Yes.
Now, in the bandit section, they're described as, quote, bandits must be strong and hardy to withstand the harsh forces of nature, the people who seek their destruction, and even each other. Now, bandits are outcasts of their societies and more than likely to have a few prices on their head or a history they would rather leave behind. Bandits are said to be prone to fighting and even betraying one another, and are truly only bound together by the need to survive in the wilderness and by the strength and charisma of a strong leader. Keep this in mind. This becomes a theme as we go forward in the editions. That being said, not much keeps the band together once the leader is gone. Sometimes bandits will operate as a guild, but they're not really considered one like a more formalized thieves guild would be. Though they do sometimes work together with big city guilds, helping with training or garnering information on rich targets. Political intrigue. Ooh. Ooh. Now, the rest of the description of the bandits and their abilities honestly sounds more like a modern-day ranger than a rogue.
It really does.
Yeah, saying that bandits have to be harder to survive life on the road. And so thief players who want the subclass into bandits must have minimum scores of 10 in both their strength and constitution skills to be eligible for the bandit kit. They are also required to have proficiency in survival and are recommended to be proficient in skills like alertness and animal handling and training, animal noise, fire building, intimidation, looting, riding, rope use, and set snares. Which, once again, sounds very ranger-esque.
I like the animal noise one. It's just like practicing. You're like, caw, caw,
I was going to say, like, caw. It's the signal. They must always, of course, carry equipment for survival purposes like torches, provisions, flint and steel, a dagger, etc. Bandits must take weapon proficiencies in a bludgeoning weapon, which is the favored weapon among bandits. Makes sense. Great for knocking people out. And in the dagger. Now, because these requirements take up the 2 slots allotted for thief weapon proficiencies, the bandit is allowed to be proficient in 1 more weapon of their choice, which is kind of nice. Now, finally, the bandit subclass gets some special benefits and some special hindrances particular to their subclass. Special benefits include a +1 on their attempt to surprise in a wilderness setting, leaning into the bandit's proclivity to setting up ambushes. Special hindrances include if the bandit is recognized as being highwaymen by normal NPCs who fear and despise them, or for being crude robbers by other thief types who look down on them. And as such, the bandit suffers a -2 reaction penalty when interacting with these non-bandit NPCs. I do love that the bandits get, this penalty to interacting with these different groups of NPCs solely because they are hated or looked down on by them.
I know, right? It's just like, DM, can I roll for contempt? I don't like this guy.
Yeah. Can I make it clear that I hate him?
I know who you are.
That's right. That's right.
I don't like it.
Oh, with a nat 20, you impose a penalty of -2 on them. Oh, man. Now, lastly, in 2nd edition, bandits appear in the 1993 Mistress manual. This time, big twist. They are no longer categorized under the umbrella term men and are now under the umbrella term, wait for it, human.
Yay.
Yeah. Which, personally, I like that on a gender equality stance. We even see artwork of a female pirate in this manual. But if NPCs like bandits or farmers or knights fall under the category human, then does this imply that non-humans cannot be these things?
Yeah. It's hard to put those, what do you even call them? Like types under a certain category.
Yeah.
It's either men or human. It just doesn't fit for things that are not that.
Yeah. Which later editions do a good job of kind of getting rid of this ambiguity. But yes, we're left with this big question of, can a dwarf be a bandit or not in 2nd edition?
Yeah, I feel like definitely some player has argued with a DM about that.
Oh
for
yes,
sure.
yes, and some rules lawyer on the other side of the table started arguing on the DM's behalf of why a dwarf cannot be a bandit. Rules as
Yes.
written. Yeah. Thank God eventually Jeremy Crawford, got on Twitter so he could live tweet out errata.
My king.
My king, yes, my goat, my king. Now, anyway, the section on bandits is really short, and though it does take some things verbatim from the earlier Mistress Compendium, it does add some things as well. This includes adding in the fact that for every 100+ bandits encountered, there will be a leader of at least 8th level. Now, it does say these leaders can be any class, not just a fighter, all right? So we're opening up some more possibilities. And then in addition to spears, swords, and small shields, up to 20% of the bandits may have short bows. Now, unlike the bandit section in the Mistress Compendium, the Mistress Manual gives us a short sentence for the brigands that says, quote, brigands are better equipped and will have higher morale, end quote. Though it does not say what the better equipment can be or what bonus to morale they actually get.
We love it. We
yeah,
love the vague.
It's my favorite type of stat improvement, right? The ones that are left completely unexplained.
Speaking of unexplained, Andy.
Oh, yes.
We're as we get into 3rd and 3.5 editions, bandits vanish. Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 3rd edition was rough for us. So, we searched through all the monster manuals and all of the possible places bandits could show up, and we could not find them or any other like human type monsters.
Yeah.
It was very confusing.
Yeah,
Very confusing.
between the two of us, we probably read through 12 different supplemental materials and came up with nothing. It's the most frustrating research we've ever done, which is saying something because Jayde has a master's degree.
I mean, I could have dug through the Dungeon and Dragon magazines, but I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. If it's not saying where it is, I'm not going there.
She's like, if it's not on JSTOR, it doesn't exist.
Right? You got me.
It's for all the grad students out there. Just know our hearts and minds are with you in these difficult times.
Oh my gosh. I still have my subscription to JSTOR.
It's awesome.
Oh my god. But yeah, so third and 3.5 edition were hard to look for, but there is one place they sort of show up at the beginning of third edition. Um, but as we said, in the main core rule books, they're nowhere to be found.
Yeah, just gone.
Yeah, and it's not like there's a shortage of humanoid foes to choose from, but I don't know, maybe they fell through the cracks when the designers were converting from 2E to 3, who knows. Either way, we could only find bandits by name in these editions in one of those sources, which takes us back to the world of Greyhawk and its bandit kingdoms.
That
Of
makes
course.
sense. Yep, that makes sense.
Yep. So a new guidebook called Living Greyhawk Gazetteer, which was published in 2000, updates the errata of 2nd edition to 3rd edition, as well as adds in a lot more lore. If there is one thing you can expect from Dungeons and Dragons, it's that anything Greyhawk related is going to be overflowing with lore.
Oh yes. Oh yes. It was the original
Yeah.
setting after all.
That's true. That's true. You know, a lot of the creators just kept adding to it in the Dragon and Dungeon magazines. So
Yeah.
this kind of is a culmination of that from 2nd edition into 3rd edition. So in the Gazetteer, the sections on the many different kingdoms in the land of Ulrich are given even more detail. And for the Bandit Kingdoms specifically, there are 6 whole pages of single space lore
Oh,
going in depth into each individual kingdom that makes
wow.
up the Bandit lands.
That's
Yes.
amazing. Well done, designers. That's excessive in just the
So
best
good.
possible way.
Yes. It is very much appreciated on our end, but unfortunately, we won't be able to get too much into it this episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are going to give you an overview of the Bandit Kingdoms. And in this supplement of Greyhawk, it actually takes place after an event called the Greyhawk Wars. Yep, very original. And the Greyhawk Wars were actually introduced in 1991 as a kind of in-game cataclysmic event that both allowed the writers to kind of seamlessly update Greyhawk to the new mechanics and to allow players and DMs to have some new fun adventures.
Okay. Nicely done, designers.
So basically, the wars were started by an evil demigod named Ayuz.
Okay.
That's Iuz. And Ayuz is the son of the evil archmage Igwil. Igwilf? Yes,
Igwilf. Yes, which later becomes Tasha, which is a lot easier to say.
Much easier, yeah. The Gazetteer doesn't say who the father is, but it does suggest that his father was a great demon prince who Igwilf accidentally releases. And in later sources, it will say that this great demon prince was actually Gratst, the demon prince of pleasure, decadence, and self-indulgence, and is one of the most powerful fiends of the abyss at this current moment.
Yeah, just casual. Just hanging out with, making babies with an archdemon. And he felt like the lover spurned in the relationship when she left to go do more unhinged archmage shit.
Yes.
Yeah, Igwilf / Tasha and Mordenkainen do not get along. And if you ever
Mordenkainen gets along with a lot of people, though.
He's a hard guy to get along with. But no, if you ever have a spare 3 hours, dear listener, just do a little bit of searching about the history between Mordenkainen and Igwilf / Tasha. It is hilarious. It's over the top.
And then when you're done with that, just go look at pictures of Gratz and be like, yeah, I understand.
Yeah, you're like, yeah. I mean, same, honestly.
Would.
Yeah. Would. All the other demons, terrifying. Crossed. Okay, I see it.
Right. So yes, that's Ayaz's patronage, and Ayaz started the Greyhawk Wars by slowly conquering the lands surrounding his kingdom, including places like the Shield Lands and the Bandit Kingdoms.
Mm.
So the Gazetteers lore actually takes place while Ayaz's armies still occupy the Bandit Kingdoms. So
Ah,
it's kind of right after the aftermath of this war, basically.
gotcha.
Yeah, so how even though the armies took over the Bandit Kingdoms, life isn't really that different in the Bandit Kingdoms under Ayaz's rule.
Okay.
As the section states, quote, though the forces of Ayaz now occupy and administer much of the lands of the Bandit Kingdoms, some old political divisions remain, even if entire populations do not.
Okay.
And some states here have survived or even returned to life after Ayaz's conquest of this region, adding chaos to a very tumultuous empire.
Sounds like living there is terrible. Wow.
Yes.
Jeez.
But at least it's still kind of the same, I guess. It's still crazy.
Yeah, it's like, well, it was bad before, it's bad now, just in different ways. When you parse
Yeah.
it out, it's really the same.
I mean, of course the devastation of the wars, obviously banditry is gonna go up.
Yeah.
So I guess that's good for the bandit kingdoms. Um
Yeah, I
They're
was talking.
thriving.
Yeah, you're like, sitting at dinner, it's like, well, I was talking to your mother and she's saying banditry is really, really a booming sector right now. I mean, have you thought about?
I'm the highwayman.
Yeah, I'm the highwayman.
Yeah, it's and this is even more so because pretty much all of the kingdoms that were keeping the bandit kingdoms in line are now they're just completely decimated. Like the
Ooh,
Shield
yeah.
Lands is just
Ooh.
gone because of this war. Yeah, so yeah, banditry, it's in right now.
Yeah, it's very, very in vogue. Not starving. Really, really drives one to to bandit.
Oh man. Yeah, so that's one of the few places we could find bandits by name in
Hmm.
3rd
Yeah, yeah,
edition.
yeah.
And even though there wasn't any mention of bandits, 3rd edition still did a pretty good job of giving DMs templates to use for creating
Hmm.
creatures to add into their games.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, for example, the 3rd edition Dungeon Master's Guide has tables for calculating abilities and HP and actions for NPCs of different classes and races. But even so, that's still a lot more work than just having a pre-made stat block ready to go.
Yeah, yeah. Like, this is great for DMs that I guess have a lot of extra time on their hands and love to do a lot of customization. This toolkit gives specific like racial bonuses and ability. Basically like pre-made templates, right, for like the various different kinds of what we would refer to now as the humanoid races.
Yeah.
So very cool if you're into that. But if you're like, I need a stat block now, useless.
Yeah. So you can use the Dungeon Master guys. There are some comparable humanoid humanoid creatures that kind of fill a similar role to bandits, which we actually found in another supplement called Enemies and Allies,
Yes, yes, yes.
published in 2001. Yeah. This book fleshes out a myriad of options for NPCs your players could run into during their adventures, that could help them or hinder them or both. And there is even a section with pre-made named patrons and enemies your adventures can get involved with. I know we say this a lot throughout the episodes, and but as we do, more and more research for this podcast, we always find books that we really like to recommend to DMs to take a
Hmm.
look at, even if
Yeah.
they're, an older edition. They still have a lot going on for them, and I
Yeah.
think that is definitely can definitely be said about enemies and allies. It just does a great job of giving you like snapshots of fleshed out and well crafted NPCs. So if you're like, I don't know, what the bartender should be like, or I don't know what this thug should be like, other than like a dumb brute. Well,
Hmm.
here you
Hmm.
go, enemies and allies.
Yeah, I would highly recommend this supplement for any new DMs out there.
Mhm.
Because if you're having trouble thinking up, NPC, you can definitely like steal one of these as long as you feel comfortable updating it to like fifth edition 5.5. But also if you're like, oh well, I just want some good ideas of some well-made characters. Boom, right there. There's like 12 of them. They're fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, go
There
give it a
there's
look.
there's tons of those supplements, especially in 2nd and 3rd edition, I feel
Yeah.
like.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Yeah, and in looking through the book in terms of stats, I guess the closest NPC we could find to bandits was called the typical thug,
Yes.
which was actually under it's a whole chapter that's just called crime. uh, so yeah, it's just a bunch of like crime NPCs. And each possible NPC in this section is introduced with a singular sentence, and
Mhm.
we loved we loved the pun that introduced the typical thug. It actually says, "quote Call it alone. You give us money, and we'll leave you alone."
Iconic.
I'm such a
Iconic.
sucker for puns.
Oh
You
yeah.
tell me a pun, and I'll just be like, "Yes,
Yes.
peak."
That's right. That's right. This may or may not be coming to a campaign near you, players of both of our campaigns who are listening right now. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
I think it would definitely fit in your your campaign.
It could definitely fit in there. Yes.
You
Absolutely.
you gotta say it in your
My
Eastern
vaguely Eastern
yeah, Eastern
European.
European
Yeah, yeah.
accent.
I will not be doing that right now, but yes.
No, boo his. Okay.
Sorry. Yes, you get to hear more accent work later on, folks, in the scenario.
Fair, fair, yeah. Stay tuned. It's
Yes,
a
stay
fun
tuned.
one. Super fun
Ooh.
one. But yeah, of course, the more you read the description of the thug, the better you can kind of pick out the differences between them and bandits. In Enemies and Allies, thugs are described as low-level muscle that most criminal organizations have on hand. Thugs are more they're more like bouncers or kind of the ones you send to give a message for the thief
Yeah.
skills.
Yeah.
They just feel more urban than bandits do.
Yeah, lots of
Uh,
like leg breaker vibes.
yeah, yeah, and I feel like too, bandits are a little more organized as a group,
Mhm.
especially in rural areas, whereas they feel more like standalone enemies or in like smaller groups, um, where just bandits are more like a small mercenary army, if anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're kind of the closest thing we found, but they're not exactly bandits. So yeah, we more so just wanted to, kind of briefly show that 3rd edition did have some more or
Mhm.
sorry,
Mhm.
more lower level NPCs. But they were very difficult to find. It
Yeah.
was it was rough. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then kind of moving on to 3.5 edition. The only thing that we could really find was in 2007. Again, no bandits, but we did find a very interesting book called The Complete Scoundrel.
Oh, such a good
Uh,
title.
Very good. Yes. It was written by Mike McArthur and friend of the pod, F. Wesley Schneider, who,
Mm.
if you remember from the Gorgon episode, he helped us a lot with his post on the origin of the Gorgon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so both of these writers wrote Complete Scoundrel, and similar to second edition's Complete Thief's Handbook, the Complete Scoundrel gives both DMs and players the option to add a little more flair, a little more nuance to their roguish characters.
Love that.
Yeah, this book introduces new prestige classes, or kind of what we would just call subclasses again,
Mhm. Mhm.
along with feats and skills, spells and equipment, and possible adventure hooks. And the book even gives you ideas for scoundrels of all types, including of all alignments.
Ooh, all kinds of
Yeah,
charismatic and well-meaning ne'er-do-wells. Ooh.
yeah, I really love that, especially the section on the lawful good scoundrel. I'm like, okay, okay, we could see that.
I'm wooing you because the law demands it, baby. What law? The laws of love. I'm sorry. I'm
The
done.
law. Uh, yeah. So, as we keep saying, this is a great supplement for DMs and players who don't want their rogue to be like the typical broody
Uh,
black cloak and dagger
uh,
kind of guy, and
emo.
and yeah, yeah, and come up with scoundrels of all different shades, even if it doesn't have to be bandits. So yeah, the for some reason it does. This book does mention bandit lords being a thing in the lore,
Yeah.
but again, we did not find a stat block for bandit lords, and
Nope.
I'm kind of upset about it, but say la vie.
Yeah, c'est la vie. Yes, it's like it has such a cool name, and it's just like, nope, figure it out on your own. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, let us know, dear listeners, if you have the supplement that has bandits and bandit lords, and we will do a whole mini-sode on that just for you,
Just for you.
because I need to know.
100%. 100%. So now we leave the literal uncharted territory of 3rd and 3.5 edition and move back into the more familiar waters with 4th edition. Bandits return back under the category of human in the 2008 Monster Manual. 4th edition, of course, is going to 4th edition. And we get a handful of human stat blocks, including human rabble. That's my favorite. Just the rabble. Lackeys, guards, berserker, mage, and then, of course, our bandits. Which, as somebody who cut their teeth in 5th edition, I'm like, this is looking very familiar. Very familiar to me. Now, human bandits have 37 hit points, an AC of 16, and a speed of 6. They have a +9 to stealth, a +7 for streetwise, and a +9 to thievery. Ooh. Now, for melee weapons, they usually use a mace, which does 1d8 +1 damage, and allows the bandit to shift 1 square. They can crack you over the head with that thing, knock you back a little bit. The bandit can also use their mace for an attack called Dazing Strike, which does the same thing as the basic mace attack does, with the addition that on a hit, the target is dazed until the end of the bandit's next turn. So not only do they knock you back a bit, they knock you out for just a little bit, right?
Just low.
You see stars for just a little bit. Now, for ranged weapons, bandit usually use daggers, which have a +6 to hit and do 1d4 +3 damage. Bandits also get what we in 5th edition would now call a sneak attack, but in 4th edition, this is called combat advantage. That allows the bandits to do an extra 1d6 damage if they have advantage on their target, and this includes both melee and ranged weapon attacks. So, they're not doing a whole lot of damage, but still, they can be nastier than some of your run-of-the-mill rabble. Ha 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 ha.
I do think it's kind of broken too that they can shift 1 square after attacking. That just seems a little crazy, but I think it might also trigger like some attacks that are like, oh, if they move, you can hit them.
Yeah, I was
So
gonna
I guess
say,
that's
like, for our 5e brains, that seems crazy, but I know enough about 4th edition to know that is like, on the scale of like 1 to fuckery, that is not very high on the scale, because like players
no.
have all kinds of crazy abilities for movement and shutting down movement.
True.
As part of their stuff. Yeah, so that's pretty tame, especially compared to some of the other creatures we've covered on here. May I remind you of the Polywog Hemoth's Nimble Nibble.
You do not have to remind me.
You're like, I never forgot.
Never forget.
Never forget. Never forget. Now, in terms of battle tactics, similar to goblins, bandits are said to prefer ambushes to straightforward attacks. If they can't surprise their targets, however, then they will attempt to flank with as many bandits as possible using the Dazing Strike. Also, like goblins, bandits are still pretty cowardly and will retreat from a battle once they are bloodied or lowered to half of their hit points or below, which this makes sense. From a from a mechanical standpoint, from a lore standpoint, I love that this is kind of leading into this idea that they need a strong, charismatic leader to kind of beat them into line. Otherwise, they just scatter to the wind at the first sign of any real provocation, and that's great. Love that. In the same year as the first 4th edition Monster Manual, we also get a handy supplement called the Forgotten Realms Campaign Guide. with one of the main writers being the father of the Forgotten Realms himself, Ed Greenwood. Respect upon him and Elminster's name. The book is not necessarily a deep dive into the lore of the Forgotten Realms, but more of a consolidation of all of the lore that Greenwood and other authors have written over the years, including a large portion of the campaign guide being dedicated to the Forgotten Realms pantheon and the different kingdoms and cities of Faerun. This is super necessary for anybody else that is a Forgotten Realms head. Before you had to scour for all your various supplements and books and put them all in your bag and haul them around with you. Now you have one handy dandy guide to do that all with, which in the world of 4th edition, extremely welcomed, because 4th edition is guilty of having the most books ever.
Yeah, and that includes, again, the Dungeon and Dragon magazines, because Ed Greenwood wrote a lot of articles for that.
Yes.
Especially for the Forgotten Realms. Yeah.
Yes, to say that his writing was prolific does not do it justice. Let's be real here.
He's still writing. He still has so much going on. I wanted to tell you, Eddie, I just saw that Ed Greenwood played Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh!
Yeah, he played it on his YouTube channel, and I am here.
Yeah, you're like, well, I know what Let's Play I'm listening to next while I, insert activity that doesn't require much brain power.
Yes.
Now, the campaign guide also gives us some mini modules, also known as one-shots, for DMs to use for their players. One of the one-shots titled Snake Folk of Najara, which seems to be, a typical storyline of slavers stealing children from local villages and then selling them to bandits for reasons. The main goal of the one-shot is a typical dungeon where players have to deduce where the kids are being held, sneak in, defeat the bad guys, save the kids, and ultimately foil the plans of the main mastermind. Perfect. Love it. No notes.
Typical. Yep.
The one-shot uses typical bandit stat block from the monster manual and then features a new variant of the bandits called the Bandit Leader. The Bandit Leader has 47 hit points, an AC of 18, and a speed of 5, so slightly tougher than the average bandit. They also have a +7 for Streetwise and a +9 to Thievery, but no bonuses to Stealth, presumably because they are not the ones doing the actual ambushing and are instead coordinating the ambushes. For melee weapons, the Bandit Leader actually uses a long spear, which does 1d10 +3 damage, and the target is marked until the end of the leader's next turn, which, as we discussed in the Centaur episode, means that the marked creature takes a penalty on attack rolls. Marking was a really big thing in 4th edition, and has kind of come back a little bit in 5th edition, which I'm not mad about. It's very cool. With its long spear, the Bandit Leader can use an attack called Sweeping Strike, which does 1d10 +7 damage and knocks the target prone. For ranged weapons, the Bandit Leader uses a typical crossbow, which has a +9 to hit and does 1d8 +2 damage. Now, is the Bandit Leader worthy of, taking on the mantle of Bandit Lord, which we never got a stat block for in previous editions? I don't think so. I don't think so. Yeah, no. I love that, we have this leader to keep the squirrely bandits in line, but I don't think it quite does a good enough job. Which we'll come back to this idea in a little bit, dear listeners. But moving on to 2010, we return once again to the Monster Vault, which, as we mentioned in the Hill Giant episode, is basically a reimagined version of the 2008 Monster Manual. In the Monster Vault, we once again get a healthy handful of various human stat blocks, including the human goon. Sean, you know who you are. You know who you are. I know you're listening. Play the sound effect. The Common Bandit, Town Guard, Thug, Transmuter, and Duelist. We don't get any new lore for bandits, and their stat block is relatively the same as the 2008 Monster Manual, other than some changes in their attack bonuses and damage. Their mace and dagger attacks now have a +7 to hit instead of a +5, and then the damage points for the dagger is 1d4 +5 instead of a +3, and the mace is 1d8 +5 instead of +1. So a little more hard-hitting, but I think that's because, underneath the Common Bandit is the human goon, whose hits are a little softer, but they get advantages when fighting together with other goons.
We're so stupid.
We're so stupid, yeah. Yeah. Now,
Inside joke. Sorry, listeners.
Yeah, we apologize, but also any Zoomers in Gen Alpha kiddies
Yeah.
listen to this are gonna laugh. So
That's fair.
yes, that yeah, enjoy it. Now later in the 4th edition, we see the bandits appear again in Dungeon Magazine number 212 in a one-shot module called "The Village of Hamlet." That is not Hamlet, pronounced incorrectly. That is Hamlet, Hommlet. Now, interestingly enough, this one-shot was actually written by Andy Collins and Gary Gygax, which is interesting because Gary Gygax actually passed away in 2008. So this module was published posthumously in 2013.
It's posthumously.
I'm sorry. It's not British enough. Posthumously. My mistake.
No, I literally pronounced that word wrong in front of my grad English professor, and she's like, "Excuse me."
I say I'm
I was
surprised.
like, "I've only ever read it.
Yeah.
I've only ever read it.
I'm just a girl. I'm sorry. I'm just a boy.
I'm just a girl.
I'm sorry."
Yeah, no. So that word is like stuck in my head, and I'm like, "Oh no."
Yes, were I at the academy, a marble bust of some writer would have come sailing at me from across the wall,
Yes.
to chastise me from beyond the grave. So thank you for correcting me.
Nedger would be very mad at you.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, I don't think Gygax worked on this 2013 module, and this is more so crediting him for the original module of the same name, which was published in 1979. Now, the original Village of Hamlet module, or T1, was set in the world of Greyhawk and was intended to be part of a larger series or campaign, if you will, called the Temple of Elemental Evil, which now a lot of people are going, "Oh, I've heard of that before." Yes, you have.
Yes, you have.
Yes, you have. Now, the other books in the series did not get published until 6 years later, in which they were all T1 to T4, and were published in a 128-page super adventure in 1985, in which players had the possibility of facing off against the demon queen of fungi, a.k.a. Zugtmoy, a.k.a. Zuggy, for those in the know.
No, absolutely fucking not. We're not calling her Zuggy. Get the fuck out of here.
Hey, you go through enough Reddit threads and you'll see Zuggy in there, all right? I didn't make that up.
I get it, but also, like, I just think she's so cool. Like, she's literally the background of my computer. I'm like, don't put some respect on Zuckboy's name.
Put some respect on Zuggy's name. I'm sorry. I'm just a boy. Now, the Temple of Elemental Evil went on to be such a great success that it actually inspired novels by Gygax, many reprints and expansions throughout the editions of D&D by Gygax and other writers, and even a video game of the same name published by Atari. Temple of Elemental Evil, big deal. This campaign is actually so beloved that for the 30th anniversary of Dungeons & Dragons, Dungeon Magazine number 116 put out an article of the 30 greatest D&D adventures of all time, which was ranked by a panel of, at this point, what you would probably call D&D royalty. This panel included big names like Ed Greenwood, Keith Baker, Chris Perkins, Mike Merles, Monty Cook, and Andy Collins, who we just mentioned. All like giants and heavyweights, not only for D&D, but also just in like the world of tabletop. So if they are saying it's good, it's fucking good.
It's good.
Yeah. It's good. Yes. Now, anyway, would you like to guess what the Temple of Elemental Evil was ranked, Jade?
I mean, I've already done this research, so I know what it is. But you guys can guess in the comments.
Yes.
Give us a comment, see what you think, and we'll let you know in 3, 2, 1.
Okay. So out of 30 modules, it was ranked number 4. Okay?
Yeah.
And this is important, right? Because it ranked just under the Tomb of Horrors, which once again, people are going, okay, I know what that is. Ravenloft. Okay, I know what that is. Yeah. And number 1, which was the 1986 module, Queen of Spiders. So, yeah, listeners, if you want to play the best of the best, you might want to take a look at these modules. Also, for my 5e heads out there, the Princes of the Apocalypse module is, kind of in line with the Temple of Elemental Evil. So, yeah, there's one ready made for you in 5th edition. Now, back to bandits in the 4e reprint of the one-shot Village of Hamlet. As we were saying before, our tangent, which I feel like is a growing section of the podcast, is just tangents.
It was a good tangent.
It was a very
I
good
think.
tangent. I had fun. Anyway, this module is kind of a typical starter module for players level 3 to 5. A dip your players' toes in module to see if you can make this a longer campaign. The premise.
See if you can get the scheduling right.
Yeah, we're still working on that. 3
Uh,
years later into both of our campaigns. Now, the premise of the module is basically Hamlet was a peaceful, sleepy village until some evil moved into the area, and now the village is plagued by bandits and other monsters. Players must establish themselves in the village and then investigate the reason behind the increase in attacks, which will eventually lead them to a dungeon in the Temple of Elemental Evil. There's the link. Now, what's unique in terms of bandits in this module is the introduction of bandit archers, which is a new stat block to add to the 4th edition collection. The bandit archer in this module is interesting in that it only has 1 hit point, but it also cannot be harmed if an attack misses. Now, you may say, duh, that's obvious an attack, that doesn't hit won't hurt. But you forget, dear listener, that this is 4th edition. And as we saw with the Hill Giants, even some attacks that miss can still do residual damage. So basically, the bandit archer is immune to this kind of damage, but anything else will, take them out. If you roll high enough to breathe on them, you will kill them. So, it's not
breathe hard.
yeah. Breathe hard. Good breath support, dear listener. Now, it's not too hard to hit the bandit archers, considering that their AC is the same as the common bandits, which is 16, which remember, in 4th edition, that's really not that high. Bandit archers mainly use a crossbow, which has a +7 to hit, and does 4 to 7 damage depending on if the target is behind cover or not. If the archer is unlucky enough to engage in melee combat, their weapon of choice is a spear, which has a +7 to hit, and 4 damage. Just as we've said before, don't do a land campaign in Russia in the winter. Do not fight hand to hand if you are an archer.
I think that should be common sense, I guess.
You'd think, but these guys still have spears for some reason. So apparently they didn't think that far.
I truly don't understand that choice, but whatever.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to 5th edition. So in the 5th edition Monster Manual, it keeps the description of bandits pretty basic. The passage that Andy read at the beginning of the episode is really all we get, although the book does make the point that bandits and pirates are interchangeable as far as stats are concerned.
Mm-hmm. Which you might think that's not important, but in previous editions, they were different. So there you go.
Yeah. I thought that was a really interesting choice. Like you said, usually it's the older editions that have these things kind of interchangeable.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird to see in 5th edition, to be honest.
Yeah, but not an unwelcome change.
Yeah. And I like to think that the stat block is kind of more of a blank template than as a staple creature like the centaur or the bullet.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess in this vein it says that bandits can be any humanoid of any non-lawful alignment. So you can have all manner of colorful characters showing up as roving bandits, or as pirates terrorizing, your local settlement. So I guess that makes sense.
Yes, finally we get our dwarf.
Our dwarf bandit, yes. So yes, bandits are squishy boys, girls, and NBs, clocking in at a whopping 1/8 CR.
Oof! They are a lower CR than a single goblin.
Yes, yeah, they are not very strong. They have a AC of 12, HP of 2d8 plus 2, or like an 11 on average, and a speed of 30 feet. The stats are about what you would expect, with the only bonuses being +1 to their dex and constitution scores. But they don't have any penalties, so I guess that's good.
Yeah, maybe better than the Hill Giant in that aspect.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're, keep in mind bandits are just intended for low level encounters.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But at higher levels, they can still be used as chaff enemies to keep up, to back up a boss creature or hordes if you want to try to overwhelm your players with sheer numbers. So,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and the DM can technically arm creatures who use weapons with whatever they want. So,
Oh.
yeah, yeah. Unlike zero edition and first edition where it has the specific tables and you have to have these specific weapons, you can give bandits whatever you want. So, so having bandits show up wielding other dex-based weapons or even magic items is well within the realm of possibility. I mean, Andy, don't you remember the goblin with the decanter of endless water?
Yeah, the Super Soaker Goblin. Or imagine a bandit with like a ring of jumping or a cloak of protection.
or Andy, a circlet of blasting that they have no idea how to use.
Jayde, you scare me sometimes.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
Oh
Oh
God.
man. I just love the idea of giving low level monsters like a powerful magic item that you're like, how did they get that in the first place and how are they using it in the second place?
Yes. And like in both
It's
instances,
perfect.
it's like you'll never believe it. Oh
uh,
man.
I mean, they stole it, of course. That's
Well,
the
I mean, of
most
course.
obvious
Of course, of
explanation,
course.
but still.
Yeah.
Anyway, so um continue on in a throwback to the bandit leaders and the statless bandit lords that we didn't provide stat blocks for in previous editions.
Yeah.
The 50 monster manual actually gives us the bandit captain to lead these bands of scruffy and desperate humanoids.
Okay.
Um, so as with the bandits, the book makes it clear that these are interchangeable with pirate captains. Nice little nautical touch.
Mhm.
Their passage actually reads, quote, "It takes a strong personality, ruthless, cunning, and a silver tongue to keep a gang of bandits in line. A bandit captain has these qualities in spades. More than treasure, a bandit captain or pirate captain craves infamy. A prisoner who appeals to the captain's vanity or ego is more likely to be treated fairly than a prisoner who does not, or claims not knowing anything about the captain's colorful reputation." End
Mm.
quote. Yeah, it's kind of giving me, if you remember from The Princess Bride, the Dread Pirate Roberts,
Oh yeah.
yeah, where like Wesley's like, I love you. You're great. Yeah. Don't kill me,
Yes. Good night, Wesley. I'm sure to kill you in the morning.
please. I kind of love that. Just I'm definitely here for
Yeah. It's
it.
great. It's great.
The bandit captain has an AC of 15, uh 10 D8 plus 20 HP, which comes to an average of 65, which is pretty high.
Yeah.
Um for a lower level monster, and of course 30 feet of movement. They are they have a pretty good spread of stats, getting a +4 in athletics and a +4 in deception. And so bandit captains actually clock in at a CR2
Mhm.
and can be any type of humanoid of any non-lawful alignment and can speak any two languages.
That's cool. You
Mhm.
can get real
Yeah.
creative with that, DMs out there.
Yeah, definitely, especially with the pirates. Oh my gosh, that would be
Yeah.
so fun.
Yeah.
And in combat, they get 3 melee attacks, 2 with their scimitar, which has a +5 to hit for 1d6 plus 3 slashing damage, and 1 with their dagger, which has a +5 to hit and a 1d4 plus 3 piercing damage.
Mm.
Alternatively, they can instead make 2 ranged dagger attacks. And I like to think that they have just lots of daggers hidden in their like, how can you do, like, 3 rounds of dagger throwing and not have just a bajillion daggers?
Yeah.
Like like, Be right back. Let me make a bandit captain with a dagger bandolier. Oh, a daggerlier, if you will.
Jayde, did I mention that I'm sometimes scared of you?
Yeah.
And you get a dagger, and you get a dagger, and you get a dagger.
Everybody gets a dagger.
Everyone gets a dagger. God.
Oh, yeah. And on top of that, they also have the parry reaction, which lets them add 2 to their AC against a single melee attack from an attacker they can see. And as the name of the skill would suggest, the bandit captain must be wielding a melee weapon in order to parry the blow.
That does make sense.
Yeah, yeah. So good hard hitting like lower level boss.
Yeah.
It just with lots of great attacks. And so they can make for, good lieutenants for humanoid enemies. Once your players get around level 5. And as always, these guys can be a template for you to arm how you see fit. Provided it stays in line with their stats, but you're the DM, so do whatever you like, DMs.
Ooh, now Jade's making her evil DM face. Ooh, I don't like that. especially after that last session of Jade's campaign. I'm scared.
I tried.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're the only one who the other players are like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, they're like, I guess this is easy. I'm like, no, you don't understand. It shouldn't ever feel that way. Oh Lord. Okay. So in 1 D&D, bandits appear in the Monster Manual, which came out earlier this year. Building on what was introduced in 5th edition, we get more of the notion here that bandits aren't always evil, instead being motivated by a variety of factors besides just simple greed, which is kind of cool. The lore passage reads, quote, bandits use the threat of violence to take what they want. Such criminals include gang members, desperados, and lawless mercenaries. Yet not all bandits are motivated by greed. Some are driven to lives of crime by unjust laws, desperation, or the threats of merciless leaders, end quote.
Yeah, kind of coming full circle with this episode of just real life bandits, not so bad. So 5.5 bandits, also not so bad.
Yeah, which I really do love the artwork for bandits in this monster manual, because it's really leaning into like the Western vibe, right? Like Desperado. Which
Yeah.
is like funny because then one of them is like this like little horrifying looking gnome who's like threateningly magicking at people. You're like, wait a minute. Like these two are gonna rob the stagecoach. What the fuck is this guy doing here? But
Yeah, it kind of like pushes the sense that this is a template that you can put on anyone,
yeah.
any NPC, and it still can be a fun time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's great. Well done, 5.5 designers. I have beef with you on some things, but on this thing, well done. Well done.
This one thing.
Yes. Now, with this, we get a table of some possibilities of reasons why a bandit has turned to a life of thievery and forceful shakedowns. My personal favorite option on the table is, quote, secretly works for a government or regional ruler to sow chaos.
Ooh, political intrigue. Yeah, I think that works out really well, especially with all the factions of Faerun that
Yeah.
you can get into. Yeah.
Yeah, not only not only are these like, typical goons, but now they're faction goons. Ooh, yes.
The
The
Zentarum.
Zentarum, yes. Now, much in line with the overall, throwback to 4th edition, that is 5.5 edition, we get a standard bandit stat block, as well as stat blocks for other types of more powered up bandit adjacent NPCs. The standard stat block, it's basically a carbon copy of the one from 5th edition. There is the addition, though, that they can speak Thieves' Cant as a language they could speak, which is very cool. For
Makes sense.
Yeah, and for anybody that doesn't know, Thieves' Cant is basically a special language that like the criminal underworld can all speak. So your player who is a rogue, who also speaks Thieves' Cant, could be seeming to have like a very normal or like sporadic or unintelligible conversation with like a couple bandits, and that could be
Mhm.
anything from like they are trading intel to they are threatening each other, and this will come to blows, but the rest of the party is completely unawares. It's very fun. It's very
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. Like, "Nice weather we're having," actually means, "I want to kill you."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like, oh yes, look at the clouds. It's like both are like reaching behind, their backs for their
Yeah.
stored weapons. Yeah, it's great. It's great. Yeah, simple. Effective. We love it. Also, too, the alignment is now changed just to neutral. Doesn't have to be chaotic. It's just neutral.
Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Now the Bandit Captain stat block is also similar to its 5e predecessor, with the above changes, right? Thieves can't, all that good stuff. With one notable addition. Bandit captains have guns now.
What? I'm sorry? Huh?
Yes. Oh, yes. In an homage to their dual use as pirate captains in 5th edition, bandit captains come into 5.5 strapped. Okay. Um, yes. Having traded their daggers for a pistol, their attack action now has them using their scimitar and pistol, quote, in any combination.
My god, what?
Yes.
That's so cool.
Yeah, yeah. So their pistol has a +5 to hit and does 1d10 plus 3 piercing damage. And they do retain that 3 attacks. So they could theoretically be, shooting twice and scimitariing once, assuming they have something to bypass the loading action. So,
Do
yeah.
they still have the same, like, penalties for firearms, or do you know if that's been updated?
I don't
Uh,
know about that yet.
yeah. We'll have
Um,
to look into that.
Yeah, we'll look into that and we will errata that later. And if we forget to errata it, listeners, hold us accountable.
Yell at us. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Yeah, badger us to get to the bottom of it. Because it's
As
our job.
Brendan Lee Mulligan says, "Get in the comments."
Yeah, get the comments right now. Right, you get in there. Yeah. Now the first of the new bandit types is the Bandit Deceiver, which is designed to fill the spellcaster role in the bandit pantheon that we didn't know we needed.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I had no idea either. They're described as, quote, using magic to disguise their activities or create a flashy distraction.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
So kinda like an arcane trickster type.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. The Deceiver has an AC of 16, 20d8 plus 40 hit points, which comes out to
Jeez.
Yeah, yeah. This is an average of 130. They are not squishy boys and girls.
Oh.
Yeah. And then they have a speed of 30 feet, standard. They have a pretty good spread of stats. They get a +6 to acrobatics, +4 to perception, and a +9 to stealth. Now, this is interesting. They come equipped with 6 daggers and a wand.
A Daggalier?
Yeah, Daggalier right here in my bag of holding, my bag of daggering. Their attack action, it's a little insane. It lets them make 3 dagger attacks.
It's
Yeah, ranged or just stabby. Each with a
Mm.
+6 to hit for 2d4 plus 3 piercing damage. Okay, and 3d6 poison damage.
No, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Poison damage.
Yes, but that's not even what makes these guys nasty. Okay,
No.
they have an ability. Oh yes, called blinding flash. All right, here's that flashy part. This has a range of 120 feet and creates a 10-foot radius sphere. Any creatures caught within the sphere must make a DC 14 Constitution saving throw. If they fail, they take 3d6 plus 3 radiant damage and are blinded until the start of the bandit's next turn.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
3d6 plus 3 radiant damage.
Yes.
That's
yes.
insane.
Yeah, right? And these guys are most likely not going to be traveling alone. So that's when, their goons are going to, jump in and take advantage of the momentary opening.
Yeah.
Now, on a success, the creature just takes half damage, which, yeah, not as bad, but still it's radiant damage. Odds are, probably not going to have a resistance. And then this ability recharges on a roll of 4 to 6. Bandit Deceivers also have innate spellcasting ability, which utilizes their intelligence score. They can cast Disguise Self, Mage Hand, and Minor Illusion at will, and can cast Hold Person at level 4, mage armor, which is factored into their armor class, and then major image once per day. So all told, these guys clock in at a CR7, and I would say they earn that challenge rating. That is,
God's above. That's insane.
yeah, just wow, that's whew, dang. And then we have our other bandit offshoot, which is the bandit crime lord. Their lore passage reads, quote, bandit crime lords manipulate shadowy organizations and prioritize their own survival over any single lackey or plot, end quote. Ooh, political
Finally
intrigue.
get our bandit lord.
Yes, yes. In my somewhat professional opinion, this is the long-lost bandit lord. And let me tell you why. They have an AC of 17, 26 D8 plus 52 hit points, or,
What?
oh yeah, 169 on average. Speed of 30 feet. Yes, okay. They also get this nice spread of stat bonuses. They get a +9 to acrobatics, +10 to perception, +13 to stealth, and they have a passive perception of 20.
Oh my. What?
Yes, you heard that correctly. You are not sneaking up on the bandit crime lord. They see everything.
Yeah.
They also get the evasion skill, which for any listeners that are not aware, if they are forced to make a save against an ability or a spell that would normally force them to make a dexterity save or take half damage, now if they make the dex save, they take no damage. If they fail, they only take half damage.
What in the name of AO? This is insane.
Yeah.
This is a crazy boss character.
Yeah.
Which I might have to add that into my campaign.
Yes. Take a look at that. I mean, you have the book. And remember, folks, the rogue and the monk are the two player character classes that get this skill. So, yeah, it's a little crazy. Now, speaking of things that are a little crazy, Jayde, in your professional opinion, as a DM, I must ask you, what is better than a gun in D&D?
I mean, I guess that's kind of a complicated.
You're exactly correct, Jayde. 2 guns.
No.
Yes.
2?
Yes. The bandit crime lord is armed with not 1 but 2 pistols and a scimitar, which they can use to make 3 attacks on their turn. Also, quote, in any combination.
No. It's insane.
Yeah. So don't be surprised, dear listener, if your DM says, so anyway, they just start blasting. Now, the scimitar attack has a +9 to hit for 2d6 plus 5 piercing damage, okay? Plus 4d6 poison damage, okay?
Oh my gosh.
While the pistol also has a +9 to hit, this time for 1d10 plus 5 piercing damage, plus 4d6 poison damage.
Where in the world are they getting this? Are they just dipping their bullets in poison? Like, what is happening?
Right? Yeah. Now, I mean, looking at this, I could almost swear that the game designers basically just took Jarlaxle Banere's stat block from the Dragon Heist module and then just worked backwards from there when creating the Bandit Crime Lord. Which, for anybody who doesn't know, Jarlaxle Banere is a very famous or infamous drow who leads a band of all-male drow. It's a crime organization called the Bregan Dareth, which they're set up in the port city of Luskan and do all kinds of, political intrigue, because that seems to be the theme of this episode, stuff. And yeah, he's super cool. Very interesting character. He and Drist Do'Urden have kind of a storied history together.
I'm so excited for that show. I can't wait till it
Yes,
comes out.
it's going to be so good. However, Jarlaxle has all of these crazy, cool and deadly magic items, which, of course, the Bandit Crime Lord does not. Thank God. Don't even ask me about his eye patch. All I can say is,
Don't.
yeah. All I can say is both of his eyes work fine. The poison damage, as you're saying, Jayde, it's very drow coded, right? Like they're just dipping their blades and their bullets and stuff in drow poison, which I think is very cool. Maybe if you're trying to kind of lore craft here for your own campaign. Maybe the Crime Lords organization has drow suppliers that can be targeted to stop the flow of these poison weapon coatings, maybe make it so some members don't have it anymore.
I mean, either way, I'm a sucker for drow baddies, so bring them on, bring them on.
Yes, I would ask why are they hot, but no, we know why they're hot.
We know why. All right, and there you have it, folks. From their origins in the white box set to 1D&D, or 5.5 as we like to call it, bandits have been opportunistic plunderers and thieves who have reasons for why they chose their life this way. Loyalty is only as good as the money it's been purchased with. So if the fight starts looking bad or their leader gets taken out, you can expect bandits to cut their losses and run. So for any players out there listening, may want to adjust your strategy accordingly. Are they heartless cutthroats, misunderstood little guys who have mouths, or something in between?
And that, dear DMs, is for you to decide. And now that we have a good idea of what bandits look like in the various settings, I'd like you to picture this. Zalor inhaled deeply as he worked his arms through fluid, well-rehearsed movements, connecting his ki to the astral plane. While his companions were pleasant enough for residents of the prime material, the best he had met, in fact, he had grown weary of their incessant chatterings. To distract himself, Zalor had decided to begin his evening meditations early. The cranking of tightening gears, the breakneck cadence of the gnome's speech, the seemingly never-ending tuning of a singular lute string, all faded into the background as his mind centered itself within his body. Zalo! The Gith could feel a vein bulge on the side of his head. A talented troubadour though she was, Zalor could not help but be annoyed by just about everything that came out of Para's mouth when she wasn't singing. He silently maintained his pose. His hands were firmly connected to the ground, while his feet were perfectly poised in the air, still as a statue, completely in control, just as the Zerths had taught him. What rhymes with Gith Sarai? Zalor opened his eyes, his serene expression breaking into a scowl. How about piss off and die? Oh, that's brilliant! The Dragonborn sang, hastily scratching away at a piece of parchment. The Gith sighed. With one motion, he flipped himself into the air, landed on his left foot, then swept his right upwards in a rising kick. A dull clunk sounded as his blow was intercepted. The corners of Zalor's mouth curled upwards ever so slightly. It's good to know that someone around here is actually serious. Nobody's sneaking up on you tonight. Alice smiled, releasing the Gith's foot from her gauntleted hand. Oh, come now, Zalor. We both know that a real kick would have shattered my forearm quite handily. Zalor laughed softly in agreement as he stood on both feet again. At any rate, it seems this lonesome station will serve as our refuge from the desert for the night. The paladin turned to the tan-skinned human who was brushing the draft horses. Mr. Hattie, would you mind checking in with the owner? The man nodded, his dark curls swaying slightly in the warm breeze as he turned and began walking towards a modest stone and mortar building they had parked their wagon near. Para let out a longing sigh. I swear, coming to Kalimshan was a curse. Alice raised an eyebrow. How do you mean? Is the sand getting between your scales again? There are just so many beautiful men here, and I simply don't have the time to properly appreciate them. Oh, gods, Zalor said, rolling his eyes. Maybe a nice pasha will hire me on to sing him to sleep each night. Then he'll fall desperately in love with me, and we'll live happily ever after. I'm all set up here, Naz called from the top of the wagon. The terrain around us is pretty open, so Bolter should have a clear shot at anything we don't want coming too close. Must you insist on giving names to all of your toys? Zalor huffed. Naz gasped in feigned horror. Would you let your own child go through life without one? The gnome chortled as he hopped from the wagon to the hard, dusty ground, brushing grit and sand from his pants. "Come on, Zalor. Don't you know how to have any fun?" The Gith stared back with a frown, his unblinking expression giving Naz his answer. "Anyway, does anyone else think it's strange that the doors on the back of the wagon have 4 different locks, and we were given a total of 0 keys to any of them?" "Mr. Maliki Memnon did say we were being paid for discretion," Para mused, running a claw across her scaly chin. "Apparently whatever's in there is worth a tidy sum to some merchant in Kalimport." Something caught the corner of Zalor's eye. He turned his gaze towards the station, just as a bird was flying from a window towards the desert. "I don't know. Something about this job feels off." "At any rate," Alice interjected, "we would do well to keep extra vigilant during tonight's watch. Now let's see to getting these horses to the stable. The poor things have been slaving away all day in the hot sun and deserve a proper rest." As the sun began to sag low towards the horizon, the shields of Marigold had started to settle around their small fire for a much-needed meal. Hattie, the wagon driver, stood over Naz's patented collapsible self-stirring stew pot, adding some spices from a side pouch to the soup he was preparing. The station operator, a weathered man with a graying beard, who had introduced himself as Samir-in Daoud, walked out to join them. He apologized for the lack of accommodations, apologetically offering them a small basket of freshly baked flatbread. "The Gith Yankee really have the denizens of this plain all wrong," thought Zalor. "For every tentacle-sucking asshole, there are at least 10 good and decent folk." Suddenly, the Gith's ears twitched. He deftly reached out a hand, catching an arrow inches away from hitting his neck. A second arrow whizzed past him, embedding itself into Samir's throat. The old man sputtered as blood began pouring from his mouth. He stumbled forward and fell to the ground. "Behind the wagon! Move!" Alice commanded, raising her shield. The adventurers and driver scrambled and dove their way to relative safety as more arrows and bolts sailed past them. Short, dull thuds could be heard as more missiles slammed into the wagon's wooden side. "An ambush! Kchith!" Zalor spat. "How long do you think we've been followed?" Alice asked Hattie as the thuds of metal into wood became more frequent. "The Kalam Desert is rife with gangs of bandits. We very well might have just been at the wrong place during the wrong time," the driver replied, nervously. "Naz, can you climb up and give us an idea of how many are out there?" Alice asked, placing her sallet securely on her head. "Got it!" the gnome replied, as Para lifted him upwards. "You stay here where it's safe, human," Zalor barked, as he settled into a defensive stance. "They won't make it through me." "Looks like we have about 8 riders on horseback, heading right for us," Naz called to his companions. The twang of a metal bowstring sang out as the gnome's contraption hurled a bolt of blue energy. "Make that 7!" Zalor peeked around the left side of the wagon to see for himself, while Alice and Para did the same around the right. As the gnome had said, 7 riders were quickly making their way towards the station. Long green scarfs billowed from their necks and waists as their horses kicked up clouds of sand and dust. One was aiming their bow directly at Zalor. Seeing his opportunity, the Gith stepped out from behind the wagon. He launched himself forward as an arrow flew towards him. Zalor snatched it from the air, whirled himself around, then sent the arrow straight back at its sender. Streaks of crimson splattered across the rider's scarf as he was knocked from his horse. 6! The Gith called out. Another raider grunted as his chest was impaled by a javelin. He slumped over as his horse turned and bolted to its left. 5! Alice yelled. Suddenly, a chorus of shouts rose up from behind the approaching horsemen. It was as if the desert sand dunes themselves were cheering them forward. In an instant, an assortment of humans, half-elves, and humanoids with red skin and hair like dancing flames appeared seemingly out of nowhere as they tossed off the sand-colored cloaks that were concealing their positions. They sprinted towards the wagon, waving swords and clubs. "Perfect timing! I've been needing an audience ever since that business at the Oasis. Look away or close your eyes, loves, Paris sang to her companions. Zalor did as he was told and turned his eyes towards the wagon, knowing full well that the Dragonborn was dangerously more adept in her magic than she was in the realm of common sense. The lullaby-like melodies that floated from Para's lute mixed with her sonorous singing to create a warped, hollow-sounding, and hauntingly beautiful tune. After a moment, Zalor looked back towards the assailants. The riders were almost upon them, but the crowd of 20 or so footmen were standing in a daze, some shifting their weight back and forth, as if dancing slowly to Para's music. The Gith shifted his attention as a blue bolt of energy slammed into another rider, her flaming hair billowing as she was launched backwards. "4!" Naz called out. Zalor quickened his stride as he ran towards a pair of oncoming riders. "Forgive me, great Menyar Og, as I apply your teachings against such weak and pathetic opponents." The Gith leapt into the air as the assailants tried to slice at him with their blades. Zalor delivered a kick to the chest of each rider, knocking both of them from their horses. One hit the ground hard, head first, clearly dead. The other rolled a few times before shakily getting to his feet, raising his curved sword. Zalor responded with a palm strike to the center of his forehead. The rider's knees buckled under him as he slowly crumpled to the ground. "2!" he yelled. Zalor heard the clang of metal on metal. He turned to see Alice blocking a sword blow with her shield as a mounted bandit attempted to ride past her. Zalor watched as she used the back of her warhammer to hook the rider's boot and pull them off their horse. The paladin then quickly flipped the hammer around and smashed its blunt end into the downed rider's head. "1!" she shouted. "Enough!" the remaining rider barked. With one hand, he threw back his cloak, revealing the gleaming black studded leather he was wearing and the ornate pommel and jeweled scabbard of the scimitar at his side. With the other, he drew an ornate flintlock, its polished brass barrel reflecting the light from the setting sun. Zalor watched as he raised it in the direction of the wagon. There was a flash of powder as the firearm thundered. "Ow! What the hells? You shot me!" Para cried. She clamped a hand over the hole in her arm, trying to slow the blood pouring from the fresh wound. "Oh, come now. You cast some sort of enchantment over my men." The rider dismounted his horse and began walking towards the wagon. "You would have done the same thing in my position." As the man approached, Zalor could more clearly see that he, too, had flame-red skin and hair that danced like a cooking fire. His eyes were like black coals set into his head, made all the more unsettling by the devilish smile that was spreading across the man's face. "How can you just assume that? I don't even know you!" Para winced as Naz clamped a device on her arm. Pincer-like appendages began to whir and click as they delicately probed the wound. "Don't know me? Do you hear that, my friends? This woman says she's never heard of us." The bandits behind him laughed and jeered, clearly free now of the effects of Para's spell. "Well then, order demands I inform you that you are in the presence of Umzaya in Kalim, the desert flame, scourge of the sands." He drew his sword with a flourish, flashing a roguish smile at the adventurers. "You should count yourself lucky. Lesser men have soiled themselves at the mere mention of my name. Me and my band have picked countless caravans clean of their pesky valuables, and it seems your particular wagon gets to be next in line. A little bird told me that you four are guarding something worth quite a pretty pile of coin." Zalor glanced back at his companions. He saw Naz's device carefully pull a small, bloody metal ball from Para's arm. Alice placed her hands on the wound and began chanting in prayer. "Sir, Desert Flame, I can see you have us quite outnumbered," the Gith said slowly. "Clearly," Umzair said, with a low chuckle. Surely a man with such a fearsome reputation wouldn't be above engaging in a more honorable fight? The bandit raised a coal-black eyebrow. What are you suggesting, my strange green friend? Single combat. You and I, man to man. If you emerge victorious, the wagon and its contents are yours without any more fight from us. If I win, you leave us alone. Zaire slapped his thigh as a deep, bellowing laugh left his lips. Even now, facing certain death, he said, pointing a gloved finger towards the Gith. You want to honor me with the test of my strength, separate from that of my men. I knew I liked you. I accept your challenge. Zaire bowed slightly in the Gith's direction. Zalor fought to keep his expression neutral as he returned the bow. This idiot has no idea what he's up against, he thought, as he stepped forward and assumed a defensive stance. Zalor's nostrils flared ever so slightly as the bandit raised his flintlock, aiming it, this time, at the Gith. I would advise against that course of action. Your blade will suffice. Zaire laughed softly. My friend, I can see clearly that you are unarmed, which means you have some tricks up your sleeves that I am, as of yet, unaware of. You must forgive me for using a tool that you have already seen in action. There was another flash of powder as the bandit pulled the trigger. Zalor focused his mind around the lead ball hurtling towards him. He raised his right hand, channeling the projectile's momentum into his palm. With a flick of his wrist, he redirected the ball back towards Zaire. The bandit groaned in pain as the bullet found its new target, his left forearm. His flintlock clattered to the ground. Doesn't feel so nice, does it, asshole? Para called. Take that thing, Zalor, and shoot him again! The Gith only had a moment to savor his maneuver before the bandit was upon him, his sword dancing through the air like shadows around a flame. Zalor planted himself firmly upon his back foot as blood began trickling from slices on each of his shoulders. There are no blades faster than mine in the wastes, Zaire panted. A lesser man would have been carved to bits. You have my respect. If you give up now, I might consider letting you become one of my men. Zalor responded only with silence, his gaze locked with the bandit's. A pity. You seemed like you could show such promise. You know nothing of potential, Zalor spat. His mind and body connected to the astral plane, Zalor manifested a pair of spectral arms from his shoulders. The Gith exhaled, launching at the bandit captain with a flurry of fists. He could feel bones crack and organs rupture as his blows connected. Zalor returned to his stance, recentering himself with a sharp inhale. Kya! Zaire's sword clanked as it hit the ground. He coughed, sending a spatter of blood across the sand. He fell backwards, laying unmoving on the ground as his eyes stared upwards, locked in an unseeing stare. Zalor looked towards the group of bandits staring in dumbfounded silence. Who's next? He snarled. In a cloud of dust and shouts, the rest of the goons ran off into the desert. Some scourge of the sands he turned out to be, Para remarked, rubbing her now healed bicep. A look of inspiration crossed her face as she broke out in a grin. You could say he's just an old flame now, the Dragonborn said, playfully elbowing Alice's side. The paladin smacked an armored palm into her visor. Zalor groaned audibly, relaxing his stance. Thank girl, that's all over, Naz sighed. Hey, where's Hattie? The sound of a loud metal click caught the adventurers' attention. They ran to the back of the wagon. Waiting for them was their driver, one hand on the now unlocked door, and the other pointing a cracked wand in their direction. Easy now, my friends. This isn't how this was supposed to go. Sparks flew from the wand's cracks in random spurts as Hattie waved it at them threateningly. Just let me take the goods and I'll be on my way. Just tell the buyer you were robbed. It happens all the time out here.
Guys, that's a wand of fireballs, and it is definitely not in a safe state to use,
Naz whispered. Hattie pointed the wand at Zalor. You! Open the door! I don't want to be blown to bits if there are wards on there. The Gith kept his eyes on their betrayer as he opened the back of the wagon. He glanced inside, then did a double take.
What the? Is that it?
The inside of the wagon was completely empty, save for an ordinary-looking wooden chair. What's wrong? Hattie said, pushing his way past Zalor. What the hell is this? Zalor's companions peered over his shoulder to see for themselves. Seems we're all the victims of some kind of prank, Alice sighed, shaking her head. We'll see how funny their little joke is once its punchline is smashed to kindling, Hattie said, stomping his foot into the chair. Instead of the sound of splintering wood, Zalor heard a dull thud, like the sound of a rod against a stubborn animal. A purple eye opened on the top of the chair, followed by several others. Hattie tried to draw back his foot. A look of horror spread across his face as it remained stuck in place, as if glued to the chair. Black tendrils began reaching out from the chair's back. The seat morphed into a fanged maw, which chomped into Hattie's leg. As quickly as he could, Zalor slammed the door shut and refastened the locks. The wagon began rocking back and forth as muffled screams and monstrous snarls could be heard within. The adventurers stood in silence for a moment. Zalor, slightly frustrated, felt the vein on the side of his head bulge again. He sighed, then chuckled a bit at the absurdity of the situation.
Para? What rhymes with gimmick?
Thanks for joining us on Browsing the Bestiary. Be sure to subscribe for more episodes and check out our Patreon at Browsing the Bestiary, all one word. We've also added a link tree to our Patreon, so now you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
On Patreon, you can keep up to date on any new pod-related announcements, access reference pages for each episode, and download character sheets for characters featured in our story times. You can also comment on what you think the next monster will be, and if you get it right, you'll get inspiration.
And if you're something of a lore master yourself, you can offer us corrections for any facts we got wrong. If you catch something we missed, you may get a shout out in a future episode.
Remember to cite your sources.
And before we go, we'd like to shout out our patrons. Thank you to Carl, Holly, Megan, and Kethri for becoming members. I'm Dungeon Mistress Jayde.
And I'm Lore Master Andy.
May your dice rolls be high.
And your adventurers ever prepared.